Hi, I'm Gabby from Ray Studios, and I recently made a video listing 5 reasons why you should buy a Canon EOS 6D Mark II. But in this video, I think it will be only fair if I do a video listing 5 reasons why you shouldn't. Reason number 1. The Canon EOS 6D Mark II, it is considerably expensive. Now, this is very relative. What makes a product expensive or cheap? Well, that's when you compare it with other products. For example, it's twice as much as this camera. And if, for example, you could also say that you could buy this camera full frame, the 6D Mark I, you could also buy a Sony a6300 which have 4K, and you might even have extra money to buy an action camera, also 4K. So all of that against the 6D Mark II, tough decision, right? Reason number 2, no 4K. Now, you will see probably a tons of videos on YouTube saying, oh my god, this camera doesn't have 4K, it's terrible. And you know what? I agree with them. They have a good reason to complain about the 4K, because it is like if this camera will be recording only VGA. I mean, this is 5 years ago. It had 1080p, which at the time is also a little bit outdated. It should also have 4K. At the time, there were a few cameras with 4K. So Canon is not into innovating, obviously, but not having 4K is not cool, because it is the future. 4K is how you're gonna play your videos already in YouTube and on almost all social media. You can upload 4K videos. So not being able to record in 4K, it's a pretty big downside. Reason number 3. I'm not only a photographer, but I'm also a filmmaker. So when I'm making videos, high dynamic range, it is very important, as well as flat color profiles. For example, this camera have S-Log 3, which is fantastic for color grading and for achieving a very good high dynamic range. Now, in the case of the Canon EOS 6D Mark II, you're not gonna get any of that. So the dynamic range is not as good as Sony and some other cameras like the Panasonic GH4, GH5 for example. And on top of that, you're not gonna be able to color correct all that much. So that's another big downside for people who intend to make videos and not only taking pictures. Reason number 4, continuing into making videos, kind of reasons, the 6D Mark II will only record at 1080p 60 frames per second tops, which means you're not going to be able to do proper slow motion. This camera, for example, it can do 120 frames per second. That's very nice slow motion in your videos. So nowadays, it is very trendy to do slow motion, and if you buy a 6D Mark II, you're not going to be able to. Reason number 5. The 6D Mark II seems like a camera that is not even out yet, and it's already out of date. Now, that's bad for quite a few reasons, but most importantly is if you decide to one day sell your camera, you're probably going to lose a lot of value because it's going to be outdated, even if you will use it only for 1 month. So these are my 5 main reasons not to buy a Canon EOS 6D. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing.